Hello, listeners. Before we begin our trip to the house in the woods, we must first give a very important welcome to 3 of our 4 exclusive Keeper-level Patreon backers. Quest Portal, Keeper of Pestilence, welcome. Corin, Keeper of the Hollow Skull, welcome. And Chi, Keeper of the Blade, welcome. Your generosity and commitment to the cult of the Apocalypse players is truly magnificent. We're delighted to have your support and look forward to the fun we'll have with your abhorrent rewards in the very near future. The final ceremonial title of the Keeper of the Book of Wild Beasts is still available to any brave soul wishing to provide a monthly subscription of £25 or more. Check out our Patreon page for the delicious rewards on offer. We thank you so much for your contributions. They are truly appreciated. We could, of course, continue to do the podcast without you, but we would be forced to use ancient and terrible methods, the cost of which would be truly diabolical. This way, at least, Dan will avoid a nervous breakdown for another few weeks, while the rest of us will be able to buy appropriate medication to keep his and our own terrors at bay. No, but seriously, without your contributions, our partners would leave us and we would be forced to live on the street. A thing Danann has sworn he will never do again, not since the last time. Or indeed the time before that. As for Dom and I, we can only offer our deepest thanks from the high towers of our ill-gotten but fabulous wealth. And now, as the actor said to the King in Yellow, on with the show. Operator, this is the Sheriff's Department calling. Could you put me through to Mrs. Alice Devereaux's office at the Maine Historical Society, Bangor, please? That's correct. Thank you. This is Sheriff Longfellow of the Mattawamkeag Sheriff Department. Could I speak to Mrs. Alice Devereaux? Is that right? She's not there right now. Yeah, I guess I will leave a message, yeah. She was calling about the whereabouts of Professor Jeremy Winter. I was told to go and check up on a local house in the area of Mattawamkeag, Carstairs' place. Anyway, I went and had a look, and no car was there. Figure he's probably left the area. Maybe you could get it to call me back. It's the number in the directory, 7114. I guess, actually, maybe there is just one more thing. Well, I know that Professor Winter was recently incarcerated, spent some time in the asylum. So I'm just figuring that maybe Mrs. Devereaux might want to investigate this a little bit more carefully before it hits the press. I know the university might not want it getting out. Anyway, I'll talk to her about all of this. What was your name? Thanks, Marie. You're a doll. And, all right. Well, let's just see that she gets this message and she calls me back. No, you have a good day too, Marie. You have a good day too.
The Apocalypse Players present The House in the Woods by Gary Pilkington. A Call of Cthulhu scenario, adapted for 7th edition by Joseph Chant. Copyright Grenadier Models and Chaosium. Starring Dan Wheeler as Assistant Professor Flight Lieutenant Charles Chuck Lohman, Jeany Spark as female postmaster Natasha Rolyova, Danann McAleer as local lobster mogul and supplier Allagash Bunyan, and Joseph Chance as everybody and everything else.
It is, of course, the height of summer, July 1924, Bangor, Maine. Am I saying that right? Specialist
Bangor,
in the accent?
yes.
Bangor. Bangor! You find yourselves
It's like New York, but with less sense.
in somewhere like New York, but with less sense. You find yourselves in the imposing drive of the Kennebec Arsenal grounds. It's to the southeast of the centre of town. The driveway leads to the Green Acres Sanatorium. Behind you, technically to the north, lies the Augusta District Road to the centre of town, and before you is the late 19th century asylum, a pale-faced edifice, testimony to the public works movement of the last 50 years. Not so far away, to the northeast, is the library, the public library. To the northwest, the police station, and Professor Jeremy Winter's apartment. The afternoon sky is split by thick black clouds. A strong breeze sweeps in from the coast, but it's met by an equal bank of brilliant blue, and there are billowing high clouds of white. So there's a battle going on above you of summer storm rolling in off the coast, and the heat of it, and these sort of wonderful, picturesque, pillared clouds, behind which lies the limitless expanse of the above. And behind the park that is in front of you lie the rising hills of New England. Penobscot County, a dense mantle of green, stretches away, forest in the distance. Your car is parked nearby, of course. You have a car between the three of you. You'll find out who drives that in a minute. And there is the road north is easily accessed. You've just left behind, of course, Alice Devereux from a very interesting interview. You met her in the elegant drawing room of the Maine Historical Society. Uncharacteristically, Alice Devereux had seemed rather out of sorts when she asked to meet you all at 2:30 this afternoon. You, of course, arrived either early, on time, or late. Who was early?
I was early.
Natasha Rolyova was early.
To be early is on time.
Very true.
And I was on time, but
You were late.
to be on time is to be a little bit early.
I was late.
So.
I was late, but I brought a good brace of catfish with me for the kitchen. So
The Americans
why I
are
was
late.
late.
All late.
well,
Always excuses.
So just
Yes.
remind us, Natasha,
Yeah.
how do you know Alice Devereux?
She, I am woman postmaster of Bangor. She and I became friends, acquaintances, when she came to use the post office, as most people in the town do from time to time. And over time we have developed friendship.
And could you give a brief description of yourself?
Yes, I am tall. I am tall for a woman. In Russia, not tall. I think American women, they're small and wide. We're not like that in Russia. I have blonde hair. I'm 34 years old. I am female postmaster of Bangor. That is all one needs to know.
Any distinguishing features?
I have a scar on my neck.
join the club.
It's not a club.
No.
No, it was not a club. It was not a club that did the scar.
My bad attempt at humor. Sorry.
Yes, American humor. Tupuje Amerykancy.
Although when we do have, what was your name again?
Allagash.
Allagash.
Allagash Bunyan.
Allagash Bunyan.
It's a proper Maine name. It's the most famous name in Maine.
Allagash. Sounds like a stew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Allagash,
Yeah.
do you by any chance recognise? Is it Miss or Ms. Rulyova?
Miss.
Miss Rulyova.
Miss. Yes.
Well, I think there's probably a high chance that I do. My lobster company is the biggest lobster company in the town, so I might send the odd letter to distributors and stuff. I imagine I'm a regular at the office. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, I know Mr. Bunyan. Everybody knows Mr. Bunyan.
Yeah, that's what I like to say.
They can smell Mr. Bunyan coming.
Yes, you can.
You certainly can. And some people like that smell, you know. Some people like the smell of fish and cured meats and that.
Everyone gets accustomed to it.
It is revolting.
I've never been one to judge. You know, people smell like what they smell like. But you can smell him coming. That's a fact.
It's like 1,000 fish go up your nose.
It is. It's a lot like 1,000 fish go up your nose. She's got a real way with words.
Well, I don't mind that. That's my business. I smell like my business. And business is business and smells are smells.
You certainly do smell like your business.
Who's this fucking flatlander?
Talking of smelling like business.
Did we hear what you looked like, Allagash Bunyan? I'm getting an idea.
I'm dressed like the classic. You'll have heard this before. He always calls himself. He's a direct descendant of Paul Bunyan, the legendary mountain man, the lumberjack. That's his second name. He's directly descended. He wears the red plaid shirt. He's got the fishing hat. He's about 62. Very weathered face. He's like a boxer gone to seed. A lot of it's now in fat, but you can tell he was a bit of an ox when he was growing up. And he has a big scar, which is sort of merged with the wrinkles of his face. It goes down from his cheek down his throat. It's from the biggest lobster I ever saw. You should have seen the fight he put up. Blue he was. Blue. You never seen a lobster like him.
I think he's telling this story as you come in, Flight Lieutenant, Assistant Professor Charles Chuck Lohman, and he's in. Would it be full flow? I think he's just got the natural storyteller's luck,
Mouth.
the charm.
Oh, luck.
Sounds like it.
So yeah, you come in.
Hey.
Last to enter.
Into Alice Devereaux. Are we flashing back to Alice Devereaux?
Yes, this is a flashback to Alice Devereaux. I suppose office really, but it's the drawing room of the Maine Historical Society in one of those lovely.
Of course it is.
In one of those lovely houses off Union Street.
Beautiful houses.
Here's your boy. I'll have a cold beer.
Ali,
Thank
good
you.
to see you. Ali, would your friends call you Ali or Al?
My friends wouldn't call me anything like that, but you can call me that if you want.
Al, it's Chuck. we live up the road from each other.
Why didn't you just call me Gash and shorten it the other way?
Well, I think you know why I don't want to shorten it the other way. That's indecent. It's indecent to speak like that.
I see. Oh, no. Linguistics, they're not my thing. It's good to see you, pal. It's good to see you. I sort of give him a half headlock and sort of ruffle his hair a bit.
Oh, good lord.
And you shoot me immediately.
So
These things happen.
yeah, when Charles Lohman appears, he's very clean cut. He's young to be a sort of university assistant professor, but he's got that sort of like steely determined look in his eye, like he's a sort of overachiever. He's a bit preppy. He's mid-30s, crew cut. He's got a sort of, although he's an academic, he's got that sort of military demeanor. He's very upright. Doesn't have much of a sense of humor.
You work very seriously. You sort of hold yourself quite well.
Yeah.
In which case, Buster, my dog, starts yapping at your heels. I say, Buster, come back here.
That's all right. I like
sensor.
dogs. That's not a problem.
Yeah, he don't like people. That's the problem.
Oh, Miss Rulyova, I believe. You work in the post office, is that right? You're the post girl there.
No, that's right. Female postmaster is correct title. But yes.
My apologies. Female postmaster.
Yes.
Sure.
I have seen you a few times, but I do not know you well.
That sounds right to me. Well, it's Flight Lieutenant Assistant Professor Charles Lohman, but my friends call me Chuck, and I'm very happy for you to call me Chuck.
Chuck. Very good. I am happy for you to call me Miss Rollover.
That's fine by me, Miss Rollover.
You've been shown into the drawing room by one of the housekeepers, a diminutive woman in her 50s, who is clearly keeping her own business elsewhere, preparing drinks, and she comes in with a tray of soft drinks, sarsaparillas, no doubt. And presents them to you, and Alice Devereux sweeps in after her. In her early 50s, she has greying, curly red hair, very curly red hair. She would be attractive were it not for a quite intense fierceness. And although she's not very tall, she's actually probably shorter than Ms. Rulyova, she does give the impression of being a very statuesque woman. She always wears tweeds, even though it's hot. It's quite conservative on the outside. And she says, "Thank goodness you all came. My dearest friends, please do take a seat." Thank you, Ingrid. That'll be all."
As she's leaving, I turn to Ingrid and say, "Hey Ingrid, tell Dennis I caught the biggest whales he's ever seen. He won't believe it. He'll love that. Sorry. Carry on.
Oh, no, thank you, Mr. Bunyan. I will do that.
You take care of yourself.
She might be German, or she could just be
generic European
from extra casting.
Quite right.
I don't know. Ingrid leaves through the door, and Alice strides over to the window, looks out of it, and sort of puts her hands behind her back. It's a pose that you, Chuck, remember from Carlton, her husband, the lawyer in town, the somewhat famous lawyer. Think Atticus Finch before Atticus Finch.
Can I remind me, how long ago did he die?
5 years.
So I probably had only recently arrived, so I didn't know him very well.
Maybe you've not been around that long.
No, I've been around that long, but not much longer than that. So I know him. I didn't know him very well. I know Alice better.
Even in that short time, I think he made a big impression on you. Certainly you and Bunyan know. I'm not sure about Rulyova. Have you been here? You haven't been that long, have you? But
No, I have not. I have been here 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I did not have the pleasure to meet Mr. Devereux.
But nonetheless, you're reminded us of a sort of taking control, commanding stance, but also thoughtful. And it's the first time you've ever seen her so kind of unguarded. Normally she's sort of very affable, but she's obviously being herself. Ironically. And she turns round to you all, and she particularly eyes Natasha and Allagash and says, "I've not called you here for any purposes regarding special transactions. I should be above board, but I would very much like to hire your services. Could you roll me either a psychology check, Assistant Professor Charles Chuck Lohman, or a spot hidden hard?
Chocolate.
It's just Chuck. Just Chuck.
It's not. I'm going to fail at either, but I'm going to go for the spot hidden hard. Yeah, no good.
You know that there's something between the three of them that you don't quite fully understand.
Yeah.
Can't quite pin down what it might be.
Which is odd, because I feel like I have almost a special relationship with Alice Devereux, so it's odd to me that...
You do. Yeah, and you get the impression that she's not trying to keep you out of it, but in that moment she's just trying to get to the point. And so she does indeed get to first of many points. On the 12th of July, she became worried for a friend's safety. Today is the 21st. Professor Jeremy Winter was a very good friend of hers, an inspiration to her. He works at Maine University, and he has gone missing, she declares. He had suffered a nervous breakdown last year and had been at the Green Acres Sanitarium. He'd been there for over a year, but then recently had been released. He goes on to tell you that, again in this slightly unusual agitated state, she goes on to explain that she saw Jeremy before he left for a retreat recommended by his analyst, by his alienist. The last time she saw him was July the 3rd. He seemed to be slightly obsessive, in her opinion. Not quite himself. There was something about him. I couldn't quite place it. I thought that he might be physically ill. He was sweating when he was talking to me. You remember last month wasn't nearly as hot as it is now. She looks out to the black clouds as they're coming in off the coast. Not nearly as much of a threat of the storms that we're having this month. Nonetheless, I was surprised to see him so, well, perspiring. She goes on to say that he had told her on July the 9th that he was going to stay in a house that had been provided to him. Professor Winter was going to stay in the house provided to him. Up in the woods, in Pewoscot, above Mattawamkeag. She was expecting him back only a few days later. He said it'd be no more than 3 days. When 6 days passed, she decided to contact the police, who were reluctant to interfere, but after a number of calls, on the 18th, they went up to go and look. The Mattawamkeag Sheriff Longfellow from Mattawamkeag, went up to go and investigate possibly with his deputy, I'm not too sure. They seem to be running quite a relaxed outfit up there, and found no sign of Jeremy, I'm afraid to say. And the next day, they called directly to the university to ask to speak to someone, and because of the close relationship between Jeremy Winter, not sexually close, you get the very strong impression it's purely platonic. Well, they asked for me, naturally, and I said yes, of course, I'd speak to the police, and I spoke to this Sheriff Longfellow, and he was actually quite helpful in his way, and he said perhaps it would be best if the university investigated this privately rather than have a crazy professor on their books. I quote. Now, I hasten to add that I know that poor Jeremy suffered a terrible breakdown when he became overworked. It's always been my opinion that he became obsessed with certain aspects of the Narragansett people, and I know that he was looking for an archaeological claim that he could make that would make his name. I know that he turned 60 recently, and I understand that he wanted to make something of himself in the last shining years of his great archaeological life. I always reassured him that he was a fine teacher. But, in short, there is some money for you and also a little bit of esteem in the eyes of the university, but I think I call you here as friends first and individuals who might be able to, certainly benefit from my patronage, if you would be so kind as to assist me, because I am genuinely concerned for Jeremy. The car was gone. There was a track up to the house, I am told. Not that I've been there. I don't even have an address for the place. I know that it was a few miles northeast of Mattawamkeag, but that could be, it's, as I'm sure you're aware, she says this particularly to Allagash Bunyan, as I'm sure you're aware, that's a very large area.
It is indeed, yes.
The woods around the local lake up there are thick and old, Allagash Bunyan.
As are the people. I'm just kidding. Slaps Charles on the shoulder.
Did you have any questions in this retrospective interview that were crucial and insightful? Or just some questions?
Well, what do you got? He didn't have any enemies, no? He didn't have anyone who was gunning for him, to use a term I heard they use in Boston. I don't know.
Well, until, what was it? Goodness me, until 6 weeks ago, or at least 6 weeks before the decision to leave for the retreat, he'd only just been released from Greenacres. I had visited him in Greenacres, but I was advised that it was upsetting for him. And I can see that. Certainly the early treatments that he was receiving,
oh yeah,
he was a shadow of his former self.
Yeah, crazy's crazy. It's hard to help.
I have the name of the head psychiatrist there, if that's the right term, Dr. Withenshaw.
Yeah, the head shrink. Tell us about the head shrink.
Dr. Withenshaw.
Oh, I don't know the man. I've met him a number of times, and he was always very...
Withenshaw.
Dr. Withenshaw. He was always very efficient, very sure of himself.
Okay.
You get the impression that she doesn't like him that much. Dr. Withenshaw.
Okay.
Mrs. Deverell, I say, and I take her hand in the way that is...
No, Chuck, please call me Alice.
Alice, too kind. And I take her hand in the way. She's always sort of fawned over me a little, and I've never been sure whether it's because she's mothered me or whether it's a more sexual attraction. But it's one or the other. And I take her hand, I take advantage of it a little. And I take her hand and say, Alice, tell me, who recommended this retreat? And whose house was it that your friend was going away to?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. He had received new treatment from this alienist who was a specialist brought in by the Green Acres Sanatorium by the name of Carstairs, Dr. Carstairs. She's a female analyst, and apparently was using some exciting new methods. She seemed to be making great ground. There was a fire in his eyes when he talked about her, Jeremy, I mean. Although Withenshaw perhaps spoke about her very positively too. That was on the telephone. Oh, no, Ingrid, please do come in. Would anyone like anything a little stronger?
I'll have an IPA.
Well, I'm sure you could see the postmistress about that. Do they post IPAs from your post office? International posting...
Internal personal account?
Yes, exactly. The
Is a
internal...
bank account?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll have one of them.
I was going to say you might want to see a nurse about it.
I'll ask Ingrid to get a root beer for you, of course.
Aye. Grand.
I step over to Alice and I gently take her hand from Chuck. It's damp, and not from Alice. I hold it between my two very large hands, and I look her in the eye, and I say, "A friend of Alice Devereux is a friend of mine. We will find him."
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We'll find him. Yeah.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Allagash, and above all, thank you too, Chuck. And she does take your hand again, right at the last moment, in an artfully played moment of attraction. You can't quite tell again. There's a twinkle in her eyes.
A twinkle in the eye of your mother as well.
Radioly.
I saw it myself. So,
Oh,
where are we going?
Bunyan, you rogue. Anyway,
Well, yeah.
look,
It's-
I can pay you
my
$20 a
main
day, each of you.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry about the
I
money.
can pay you $20.
Don't worry about money.
You're
Don't
talking
worry
about money openly again, Mr. Bunyan. Oh, Allagash, you're so charmingly
A
crude.
friend's a friend. A friend's a friend. Like Mrs. Natasha says.
Yeah.
We'll help you. We'll help you.
Absolutely. That won't be necessary. You've done enough for me over the years, Mrs. Devereaux. Alice.
In all truth, her word, particularly for you, Chuck, could go quite a long way.
I know. I'm still chasing that tenure.
But for the other two of you, that could also go quite a long way.
You just talked to me about fishing rights up the river, yeah? We'll talk about money another time. It's all good.
Yes, no, I will not. Yes, I will not accept money.
So, where are we finding
No.
this?
No.
No.
Did you bring an automobile with
We
you?
will not accept the money.
It's purely for expenses, darling. It's purely for expenses. Did you bring an automobile with you, or would you like to borrow?
I turned up with my rods slung over my shoulder
Of course.
and a hook of Wells catfish on my... Yeah,
Oh, and Ingrid, please do take
which
those
I've already palmed off to the
those
kitchen.
charmingly olfactorily challenging catfish. They look delightful. I'll serve them up for my for the ladies of the Historical Society just this evening, I think.
They're big bastards. I'm from Limerick now.
She blushes and then realizes, of course, that you're referring to the local term for the catfish here in the Penobscot River.
Yeah, Ingrid. Having a laugh.
Is there anything else that you need to ask me? It's already a quarter to 3. I hasten to add.
We got the name. Got the name of the place. We got the name of the house. That'll be enough. I've turned so Irish. But yeah.
Did you say it was Carstairs, Dr. Carstairs? It was her own property that he went to stay in.
That was the impression that I was given by him. Yes, when I last saw him.
All right.
That was definitely the impression I was given, which I thought was a little unusual.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Her eyes dip, and you begin to realize that there's sort of another layer. And it's the layer that you probably all trust the most, which is, there's this kind of dynamic woman who's not necessarily a great means. This isn't her house. This is where she works.
No.
But she can move in all of these circles. But she came from nothing, and you all know that. And that might be partly why she's fond of you all, that she recognises you're all trying to make your way in a cruel and difficult world.
Yeah.
But if you could give me a psychology check, just a straight psychology check.
Yeah.
But I mean, the better you do, the better it is.
My psychology's all right, actually.
I will almost certainly fail that. So I
got a hard success. I got a 17 on my full. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, I've got a 20.
Which is a very good roll.
Marvellous.
And your psychology is
50.
50. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? One of your better skills, I remember. So that's another hard success. So you two instantly clock it. I think. I mean, it's not like you're missing out on anything, Chuck. You realise that something's.
I'm not even rolling my psychology because it's so bad. I thought I might just maybe try and.
Well, I'm going to play hard and fast rules that I picked up. So if you roll an excellent success, I will give you an instant D10 gain. It's in-game progression. It's not how the rules do it, but in case we ever come back to these characters, I'd like to try it.
Well, I mean,
always worth a shot. Then.
Good lord, he's giving it away.
I'm not going to roll an excellent success, but I'll do it anyway.
Imagine if you did.
No,
I failed. That's a fail. He's not really he's not a great reader of people.
No, he's neck down. He's a neck down man.
Roll better.
He's a mouth down.
Yeah.
He's probably still thinking about the next move, isn't he? He's thinking about tenure. How best.
He's a face and body guy.
So anyway, the two of you...
He's a face and body guy.
You sense a moment that the interview is about to end. She's bringing it to a close, but there's this vulnerability. Would either of you like to say anything else?
Either of us who just got...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think...
Well, I think I'll let Natasha go first.
Even
if I do want to.
I think I catch her...
Ladies first. He's a very old-fashioned guy.
It's just something in her face that suggests that she might be holding something back. And I step up to her and just say, is there anything else we should know? Anything at all?
This does... She kind of stops in her tracks. It's the first time you've ever seen her like this. And it creates the perfect opportunity for Allagash to step in with...
I wanted to step in and just whisper to her, and I'm not hiding this from Natasha. I just want to say, you think there's much danger in this business? Because my boys are my boys. They're hardy. You think I need to maybe rope a couple of them along? What are we talking about here?
Dan, I think retrospectively, Dan, can you give me a charm?
Well, that was what I was. That's what I was gonna offer.
How good was that charm earlier?
We're having a really sort of subtle conversation, and then Dan just steps in and goes, "Hey, baby.
Hey, girl.
How are you? Hey, girl."
It's effectively a bonus. It's a bonus because the two of you
exactly.
are direct, and that's worked.
My charm's not great. My charm's not great.
Oh, I'll give you a bonus.
Did you say? Did you say you were going to give me a bonus?
Yeah, go on. I'll give you a bonus die. I'll tell you what, because the power of what these two have done with their directness.
I'm one over. I'm going to spend 1 point of luck.
I pinch your cheeks and I make them look rosy red.
Just straighten his shirt.
No.
No.
You don't do anything in this point. Your work is already done.
Yeah.
It's just, I think she looks at you, Chuck, as that last barrier of approval. Someone whose presence she enjoys so much from all aspects of her more heightened life.
Oh, yeah.
And these two...
All right.
These two friends who see through her.
We're savages, I get it.
Yeah.
Classic.
Chips on shoulders everywhere. I don't know what to say. Or maybe it's...
I'm bringing myself
Potato
to
Rostov? Is it Rostov on the shoulder and...
Rosties on the shoulder.
Rosties on the
I've
shoulder.
got a rusty on my shoulder.
And what do the bunions have?
Of a little rusty.
Scampi fries.
Poutine? Do you have poutine?
A little rusty.
And you've got poutine on your shoulder.
A what?
So...
A poo?
Is that what it's called? The Canadian delight of the...
What?
Well, anyway, chips on shoulders. So, she doesn't... You can see tears. You can see tears in her eyes. And she says, I didn't want to scare you, but I perhaps made a mistake. I went to Jeremy's apartment, and I've been there before, of course, and I was allowed access to the keys by the university. It's his office as well. And I...
Did it look messed up? Had something happened?
No, it looked fine. I found nothing of any interest, but, well, from the window, it's on the first floor, and I looked down, and I could have sworn that there was someone watching the window. And when I came down, I made a particular point of looking down the street, and I saw him looking at me, and for a moment I thought that he was going to follow me. So I wasn't entirely sure whether I was safe.
Tell us what he looked like?
Yes, of course. He was tall-ish, I suppose. He wore a summer coat and a wide hat.
Did he look like a flatlander? Did he look like someone from out of town, or was he, someone just dressed up in his Sunday best?
Oh, I suppose he looked like a Bangor resident. Looked like a Bangor resident, perhaps, but no, he could have been an out-of-towner because there was something odd about him. There was something off about his... I think he wore his collar up. I couldn't quite see this part of his face. I think he wore his collar up, and I tried to look, but of course the longer I looked, the more nervous I became. I sound so silly saying this to you all.
No, you're not silly at all.
You all would have kept your cool.
I got a cousin in Boston. Apparently, the latest thing is you hide your chin with a bandage. It's sort of prison chic. It's weird, but no, it's good to know.
His trousers seemed to be quite high on his waist, if that makes a difference. He didn't wear them low around his buttocks. You're talking about prison habits. I don't know. I'm very out of touch with that sort of thing.
So you say...
Oh, yeah, well, likewise. I've never been there myself.
He wore his collar up as if he was maybe trying to hide some kind of scar on his neck.
Oh, I didn't wait to see Chuck. Foolish of me, I know, but I rather fled the scene, and I've not been back since. I just say that because...
Oh, you're quite right, Alice.
I'm sorry, it should have been the first thing I said, but... It could have been nothing, you understand?
No, you see someone strange in your gardens, you come to us. You don't put yourself in danger. We're here for that.
I don't think I've ever admitted this, but Jeremy was the inspiration for why I took my degree. I heard him speaking about the Narragansett with such pride, such equanimity, and it was the reason why I decided to study.
The Narragansett people.
The Native American Indians.
Oh, yeah. I got a bit of that blood in me, you know? That's the name Allagash, you know? That's from the natives.
Of course, and that's no doubt what makes you so handsome, Allagash.
It's not that.
She's a charmer.
I'm very conscious that the ladies will be here soon, and...
Yeah, Ingrid will be back in looking for a catfish.
Well, I'm a little nervous that if there is any trail at this house, perhaps...
We will...
well, I wouldn't want it to go cold.
We will...
and
get out from under your feet, Alice.
I am...
It's no problem.
How foolish of me not to have mentioned this. I am meeting Jeremy's cousin, who's coming into town, to discuss with her what's best to be done about the estate. Well, one doesn't like to think about these things, but...
No. You gotta.
And when and where are you meeting the cousin?
At the train station. Ruliova, could you give me a law check? I'll give you a bonus die.
My God.
Mein Gott.
29.
Woo.
Sweet. Okay, so your law's pretty good. It's one of your best skills. Yeah, this all makes perfect sense. In fact, missed persons case, somebody would have to come down. The police would probably have said, just in case, could you contact someone who'd be able to confirm the body?
Yes.
Preferably from the family. It all makes perfect sense. She's not hiding anything.
Very good.
And yes, she's going to meet after the ladies gather for their evening meeting for the catfish and tea. She's going to meet them on the 6 o'clock train.
It's disgusting.
No, it's meaty. It's nice.
Which, barring any flashbacks you want to introduce later, I would say gets us back to our starting point. You've driven, because it's the closest place, you've driven to Greenacres to take stock. So she gives you her Ford, her Model T Ford.
Aha.
Who's driving?
Well, my drive's not great.
Well, I was...
Unless you had your own car, did you, Chuck?
Well, I was going to say I have my own car. My drive is just the standard drive. I'm not an amazing driver,
It's
but
a pretty ropey car as well, from what I remember. 20 credit.
My drive's 20.
Yeah. So maybe I take the offer of her car.
She has offered the... It's up to you. You know, obviously that doesn't mean it's on your name. You don't have to sign out the insurance.
Yeah, my drive's 25, but I think Rolyova mostly travels by bicycle.
Well,
I travel mostly by boat, trawler.
My drive's 20, but I I'm gonna argue that.
Well, Natasha's got the highest drive.
Am I driving? Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can drive for now. We just on tarmac Adam. It's not.
I can drive. It's a bit bumpy.
We're not in a chase. So.
My clutch control is not strong.
It's not the off-roads of Matawam Key.
The clutch control is not strong.
None of your clutch control.
Neither in gaming nor in life.
I think I'm probably gonna do the dickish thing and just sort of basically just automatically get in the front and drive. That's the sort of guy he is.
I'm going to go straight for the back because I've got my dog Buster with me, so I'm going to have my dog sort of playing around in the back seats.
I go to put my hand on the driving thing, but Chuck gets there first, and I just sort of...
Miss Ruliova, would you like to take the passenger seat?
I think it's the only seat left, so yes, I will take it.
You can squeeze in with Buster and me if you'd prefer.
It's the best seat in the vehicle.
We're fine back here.
Yes, what do you call it? You American call shotgun?
I'll take Tommy gun.
I will take
No,
shotgun.
I'm just joking.
I do not have a shotgun.
Da.
Yeah, yes, da. A Tommy gun.
Could you actually, while we're on the subject of shotgun, Bunyan and Ruliova, could you give me a luck check each? Chuck Lohman, unless you're about to tell me that you always carry your 45, there's no reason why you would have taken a weapon to this meeting.
No. I'm pretty good with a handgun, but I no longer have a service
It's
pistol.
fair to say you're unarmed.
So good.
If you roll under your luck,
21 on a 75.
lovely. Ruliova.
35 on a 50.
Right, so you are both packing.
Yeah, mate.
And the hard success.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think you've got extra rounds, Bunyan.
In my stockings.
As it so happens.
And same for me.
Nope.
Roll under my luck.
You don't get to roll your luck. You just don't have it on you.
I don't.
No. There's a reason why. There's a reason why they do.
Okay, fine. You notice when Chuck moves to the front seat of the car, that there's a reason why he moves so fast to the driver's side. You've noticed he was stood out of the car. It was almost like he didn't want to be outside for too long in this big wide open space, and he sort of hurried head down, like directly to the car. That's why he got there first.
Yeah. Nice.
Just thought I'd mention that.
Love it.
So you don't even need a spot hidden, Dan, as Chuck, to see that there's a pretty hefty looking shotgun, you would argue, sticking out of the back of the rifle bag. Not rifle bag, the fishing bag. It's allegedly a fishing rod.
That ain't a fishing rod.
As you nip into the car.
Interesting fish you catch with it.
Ruliova, I know you don't have psychoanalysis. I'm pretty sure Bunyan doesn't have psychoanalysis. So if you've got psychoanalysis, you get a bonus die. But the two of you, could you give me a psychology roll? But I'm looking for a hard success, which is under half of your psychology.
I have 1 on psychoanalysis.
Is that me too? Because I don't have it.
Yeah, but that's very long. Yeah.
Got a 40 on a 1. So
I fail, sadly.
Yeah. Okay.
Psychoanalysis.
Psychology or psychoanalysis. I gave you psychology as a hard check if you wanted to try that.
Okay. I'd rather do that. In which case, I've passed already.
Passed but not hard. Ruliova failed. No passed.
Failed, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Okay, so there's something about Charles Chuck Lohman. You're reminded of what was the name of that cousin of yours? Came back from the war.
Well, mine, Billy.
Billy
Longlegs.
Billy Longlegs Bunyan.
That's what they call him because
Billy Longlegs.
His torso
Longlegs
was
Bunyan.
like 2 inches. 2 inches. His legs was like 6 feet. It was crazy. He looked like a fucking flanimal.
So for some reason, Allagash Bunyan starts launching into this story about Billy.
So Billy, he comes back from the war, and they say it's something shortened in his spine. He's got kicked out of the car. He lands headfirst in a trench, and his spine compresses. And so he loses like 6 inches off his torso. And we're all there going, Billy, how are you down there? How's the weather? But he's fucking done. He hates it. So he kills my other cousin. Flat out murders him. It was really grotesque. He drowned him in a fishing pond. He put his head into a lobster pot and he sunk him in there real good. It was awful, but we could see where he was coming from, you know? Anyway, he got out last month and his family's thrilled.
We'll come back.
That's great, Al.
Shall I carry on?
We'll come back for Rulyova's.
Yeah, it was great.
Rulyova's going to have to do an English check on that because we don't get to roll enough.
A new English check.
Secondary language.
Yeah.
Al, it's real good to hear the story about the Bunyan family. I must say I've been concerned about the
Hey.
Jeany,
my cousin.
Can Rulyova give me an English test check?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been quite obscure, to be fair.
Billy Longlegs. English.
Billy Longlegs.
The tale
Billy
of Billy
No
Longlegs,
Mates.
the cousin.
He had no mates and he got long legs.
Language, is that?
So language should
English.
Be 51. Should be 51.
Yes. Fail. Sorry.
Yeah. So you're just baffled. You follow it to start with, but then it's just this wall of.
It's pretty
You
accurate.
begin to just drift off a little bit. I'm assuming that you're driving at this point, and by the time you get to Greenacres, because it's so close, it's leading you to the road, which means that you could go back into town because you come off the 145 Harlow Street, one of the best streets in town. Beautiful restoration buildings. Oh yeah, they're lovely.
We talking Art Deco?
No, we're talking
Art who?
We're talking 1900. Those guys.
Early.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
You may.
Of the keeper. Do I know Professor Jeremy Winters from the university?
Yes, you will have seen him.
Okay, right. And could I confirm what is he a professor of? What's his department? Archaeology, but he is obsessed with the Narragansett people, which is more anthropology, right?
Well, he was attempting to find the
Ark of the Narragansett.
no, the dig site that would make his name in relation to the Narragansett. So the archaeology always has a relationship with anthropology. He is old enough as well. He just turned 60. He's certainly old enough. He was there from the beginning when the archaeology and anthropological schools started 20 years ago this year.
Wow, okay.
At the university. He was there from the start. He was very highly regarded, well liked. The breakdown came out of the blue. You're familiar with the breakdown. It was hushed up by the university.
You said the name of a town, I think. Is it Mataganqui?
Mattawamkeag.
Mattawamkeag. How are you spelling that?
So that is M-A... Let me get it right, because I don't want to get it wrong. M-A-T-T-A-W-A-M-K-E-A-G.
Mattawamkeag.
I believe that you have a map of Maine in your glove box.
Yeah, I think I do. I opened the glove box as we're pulled up at some lights. Do they have traffic lights in 1924?
Ooh. No, you're there. You're parked up.
I just flip open the glove box, hoping that I might find maybe a revolver there, because I'm feeling a bit naked.
Oh yeah, do you want to roll your luck?
Yes, I do.
That's nice. Do you want to roll your luck there? That's nice.
Found a sandwich.
No, there's an old packet of mints.
Great.
Luckless Chuck.
Not the beef.
Great.
Not beef.
I take the mints and I take out the map of Maine that I find there.
There's also a sketchbook, and at the end of which there's a journal entry. Oh no, sorry, that's.
Oh no!
No, flashback. Unhelpful flashback.
They're either Murray's or they're extra strong. We're not having journal entries.
A cuddly toy. Okay, fine. So I flip open the glove box and I start taking the maps out. And I say, "So, Miss Rulyova, what do you say we maybe check out the sanatorium or maybe head back to the university? You seem like an intelligent woman to me. Maybe you have an idea where we want to start this search?"
I think the sanatorium is a good idea. We can try to meet Dr. Withenshaw or Dr. Carstairs. They have spent most time Jeremy, with the professor, and I think they will have a best idea of where maybe the professor has gone, why he has disappeared.
Sure.
I think the sanitarium is our first. What would Mr. Bunyan say? Port of call.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. I'm real interested in this Dr. Carstairs.
Yes, and the woman. I'm pleased to meet her.
Character.
Yeah, you're real interested.
I'm pleased to meet another strong woman.
As we go in, I want to turn to Chuck and just say, hey, you're a guy. You're a head shrinker. You're a guy who knows of this shit. You know about the people and how they think. You sum this up for me as best as...
No.
Well, what are you? What are you?
Al, I don't know how many times I have to talk to you about...
Well, one more.
One more, okay. So, I'm...
He's walking surprisingly fast as he goes up the steps, by the way. Bunyan, you're being pushed to keep up with him.
Yeah, head down.
Jesus Christ. My heart's going to explode.
Mr. Bunyan, are you all right? You've gone
Let's just get inside the sanatorium. I can tell you everything.
Sweating like a pig.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. That happens sometime. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that Chuck calms down as soon as he's under the... there's a sort of... What is it called when you have a kind of... I want to say a hoarding, but that's not quite
it's like
right.
A portico,
like an extended roof, a portico that comes out above. It's to protect from the rain for anyone visiting to the main entrance. Yeah. It's very grand. This is a very grand building. Very big. Looks a little bit like it's in keeping with the arsenal itself, which was built at the end of the 19th century. This is all this public works project that happened in Bangor.
I've put my fishing rods and my tackle bag and everything in the car. I'm not taking them in with me.
Yeah. Nice. Understood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's edgy, but you could just about got away with it if you wanted to. But yeah, I think that's a good choice. That's a good choice. Yeah. There'll be no penalty dice for you. But yeah, so you can still have this conversation before you go in, is what I'm saying.
So you're right. As soon as we get under the
awning,
atrium, whatever you want to call it, I sort of calm down a bit and say, Al, I ain't a professor of psychiatry or psychology. I'm an assistant professor. I'm a research associate in agronomy. My field is agriculture. My first degree was engineering. I'm a man of the land, man of practicality, man of earth and engines and things that move.
I know you're an agronomy guy.
I'm not a head shrinker. I don't get inside people's heads. That ain't what I do.
What do you think about the agronomy on this? And he passes you a split.
Boys.
Of course, in 1924, you're being passed a herbal remedy.
Yeah, it's like coca wine.
Calming cigarette.
It's less aggressive.
It's associated with it's associated with the old plantation.
But I take a look at it and I say, thank you, but no thank you. I like to preserve the integrity of my body.
I see. Natasha
takes it. She takes a toke and then she holds it in her lungs and then slowly exhales and says, "This is good."
Yeah.
This, and then she looks at Mr. Bunyan and says, "Out of state?"
No.
Oh, Maine.
No, from just behind my cabin.
Very good. And she tips him up.
But Bunyan comes close to saying, "Well, you are," but he doesn't. He sort of nods to Natasha in the sense of, "No, it's good, right?
That's good."
But that's all they say at that moment, I guess. Yeah.
Delicious.
So Chuck, could you give me a no roll?
So would that be education or intelligence?
No. I think we'll work up to no. So that would be education. So let's give me an intelligence. Let's have an idea roll.
Yeah, it's a regular success.
Regular success. Are these two talking about buying and selling? Begin to wonder. So you know that Bunyan's got fingers in pies about getting things upriver, downriver. Penobscot River, very good for sending things down to New York State. Very useful.
You can surf anything on those logs.
Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
You never heard anything about Natasha Rulyova doing that, but she is perfectly placed to be in a position where she might be able to oil the wheels. And then your idea finally hits on the fact that, and you reckon Devereaux might know that, which is a whole side to Devereaux you'd never thought.
That's a possibility, but it's none of my business.
And as you think that to yourself, you get to the doorway of the Green Acres Asylum.
As you think that to yourself, as we reach the doorway, I cuff you about the chin and just say, "You're right, that ain't none of your business." Just having seen his look. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at these crazies.
Well, since you've done it, and I know you love these grace notes, but are you trying to intimidate? Are you trying to persuade? Are you trying to do something to him?
I think fairer would be persuade. I can intimidate.
You trying to take me in about
I can intimidate if I want to, but there's no need to intimidate this guy. We're on the same side.
He just.
I might be trying to
he
persuade.
drops in.
I might be trying to persuade him to just
He drops into a playful guard, but Bunyan, you've seen enough. You've seen enough fights with French lumberjacks.
Oh yeah.
To know that his playful guard is a guard.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly, Chuck Lohman seems to know the basics.
You're standing like the wooden disc around a camembert.
some pugilism.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's exactly that. He's got that kind of odd high Street Fighter's poise.
He thinks he's
like
a fucking hare.
Like a hare, exactly. In spring.
Here.
I think effectively it's a bonding moment between all three of you.
I think so.
As you stand outside the doors.
All three of us.
Boys.
I think I turn immediately to Natasha and I'm like, "Hey, sorry. You're right. We're all on the same side. Yeah. I've been out in the wild too
We are
long.
all in the same boat, Mr. Bunyan.
You're right.
In the same
hey,
boat.
And if we were all in the same boat,
Yes.
I tell you, we'd
Yes.
have some of the best eating ever. Some of those claws. Oh my God, you haven't tasted them. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Well, the claws, they're great. The legs, they're small. But
Excuse me, can I help you, sir? Did you have an intention
yeah. Can I
visit
get some?
somebody in the asylum? The sanatorium?
I'll have some clam chowder.
It's not lunchtime at the sanatorium, sir.
Yeah, I'll tell you when it's lunchtime. My name's Alagesh Bunyan. I think I deliver most of the meat to your place.
Oh, Mr. Bunyan, yes. I know your name. Oh, what a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. Of course you do.
Why don't you go through to the main reception, you and your comrade fellow friends? So you do get shown through. You make your way through to the main reception. Who are you going to ask for?
I leave that to Chuck or Natasha. I'm not the talkative type, really.
I think it's probably Natasha would probably defer to Chuck just because her Russian accent tends to sometimes rub people up the wrong way, and Chuck seems to be a bit of an empty.
He's the most proper of us, isn't he?
He's very American. He's very American.
He's the face.
Yeah, very American.
Very American, which is for her to describe someone as very American is actually an enormous cuss. He's very American.
He always looks like he's wearing medals. He's not, but he's got that kind of look.
But yeah, exactly.
Gratuitous.
Yeah. He would take that as an enormous compliment, but yeah. We were hoping that Dr. Carstairs might be available.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Dr. Carstairs is away at the moment in Europe. Did you want to?
In Europe?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, and how long is the trip expected to last?
May I ask your name?
Of course, I am Flight Lieutenant Assistant Professor Charles Lohman.
Flight Lieutenant Assistant Professor. Are you a professor and well, But anyway, who did you want to speak to, sir?
Well, in the absence of Dr. Carstairs, is Dr. Withenshaw available?
Oh, yes. You see the visible relief. Oh, yes, Dr. Withenshaw is. I'll say that you're calling on behalf of whom? What's the name of the patient?
Well, I am, you can say that I'm a representative of Maine University.
Maybe not so American after all.
Jean Watson says,
You can say that I'm a representative of Bunyan's Lobsters. You might recognize me.
Mr. Allagash.
Oh, I can't say that I do, but I know that Walter was talking to you.
Well, you can't have been local for too long.
Do you deliver some of the food here? She looks a little bit confused
when it's called for. When it's called for, yeah.
I'll say that you and your associates, Professor Lieutenant, say that you and your associates are expecting to meet Dr. Withenshaw. He may have a window in his busy schedule. One moment. And then she sort of totters through, and seemingly in a minute later, less than that, comes back and says, "You're in luck. Dr. Withenshaw will see you straight away."
I thought he would.
I say, thank you, Rose. That's much appreciated. She doesn't know that I know what her name is, but I do.
Yeah, she looks baffled. And goes, "I'm sorry. Have we met?"
Yeah.
But by that time, the three of you were walking through, really.
Yeah. I'll see you later, Rose. Say hi to the kids.
So creepy.
She blushes visibly, and you realise in that moment you've called her out, and she's been pretending that she doesn't have children. She's been asking her ma to look after the kids for the afternoon session.
Yeah. Don't you worry about Grandad. He's fine. He fell asleep, but I had some of my boys take over. Right, here we are. Who are we looking at? Who are we fucking looking at?
So there's a very fine elevator that you've been sent towards, and you go up the elevator, couple of floors. Because it's quite a big building. You've got that distinct sense of the extra cleanliness of the sanatorium that lies behind this facade of offices.
Yeah, Natasha, Chuck, don't you always feel they keep these mad people, they keep them too clean? You know what I'm saying? They, they should just let them live in their filth. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean the sort of, this is what they're designed for. They fucking clean up after them. You don't know, you can't tell the smell of the person.
Ding!
Where I come from, we have a saying, the smell of soap hides the smell of shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And Natasha shrugs.
You're from the Ganges, right?
She shrugs and winks.
Yeah.
Something like that, Mr. Bunyan. Something like that.
It's a very modern interior. It's been beautifully done in wooden panelling with inlaid. It's green and brown, but it's nicer than that sounds as a colour combination. It's polished
The
wood
colour of shit.
with one kind of lovely sort of mahogany browns with inlaid green lines, elegantly done around, and you can see the golden lettering of Dr. Withenshaw at the end of the. It commands your attention.
Hey, this sign's commanded my attention. Shall we go in?
It's a big sign.
Head of the sanitarium. I mean, you can hear the sounds of the asylum at work. A few interesting noises can be heard. I mean, it's not gothic and horrifying, but you begin to realise that the nature of this place is, for all of its impressive, imposing 19th century facade and its kind of the new America, inside there are a whole load of loony nut jobs.
Yeah.
Because people literally kept to
a
it.
whole load of fruitcake.
He's a cousin of mine. Loony nut job.
Exactly. Who knows? He could be just behind this door. And a number of corridors stretch off to the left and right. Could you give me a collective spot hidden roll, all of you?
Ooh, love to.
It's not good.
Ooh, no. Ooh, that sounds good. Oh, I got a 9 on a 55.
A 9 on a 55, very good result. And Lohman,
I failed.
don't worry, it'll all come good for you.
I think he's still a bit shaken up from that crossing the car park. traumatic experience.
Yes, and who knows? Perhaps he might have received some psychiatric help in his time. Who knows? Not that I can say too much.
Oh, I'm bang on. 60 for 60.
60 for 60. Okay, so I'll deal with the 9 first. Allagash, you see up ahead. There's a door off to the left of it looks like a secretary's office. It's unmarked. It's got frosted glass, but the door just closes as if someone was just watching you coming in. And you just clock it. It's like it's nothing untoward, and you're clearly you've been sent through to Withenshaw's office by the girl downstairs, as you have persuaded her. Wulyova, you look off to the left, down the corridor that you're just passing, and for a split second you see an immensely tall figure behind one of the glass, behind one of the glasses for the doors off to the left and right. And one says treatment room on it, which is where the figure is that you've seen. And there's something about the shape of the head that you begin to think that not only must it be a very big man, there's something about the nature of the hair. It's like a kind of helmet of really long hair that almost sort of makes him seem slightly inhuman. And you remember Russia.
Da.
You remember St. Petersburg as it was,
Petrograd.
as it has become. And there was that evening where you attended Madame Skovyaya's soiree.
It's a good approximation of the pronunciation.
Yes, I forgive me for getting that wrong.
Skoyaye.
Skoryaye.
Skoyaye.
Gregorian. She's multiple names because
It's
there's lots of patronyms, right?
That is better.
She
And remember, she's from Georgia, so it's an unusual pronunciation.
exactly. Don't we normally do Welsh for Georgia?
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah.
Skoryaye.
Yes, it's good. It's good.
Well, it's a bit better.
Scorpio.
Apologies to our Welsh listeners.
Not to mention the Russians.
They love it. Can't get off.
I mean, they've switched off for years.
A long time ago, if they've listened to the other one. Yes, who knows? If you're lucky, you can find us doing Russian accents for 12 episodes. But to return to Rulyova's moment, she remembers turning up to the soiree a little late. You were very young, and it was a whirling, glittering world of intrigues and fascinations, and dabbling, was it not, in the occult?
Yes.
And that was the first time you ever laid eyes on the monk,
Yes.
the advisor,
The dread.
the spiritual guru, as he became to the Tsarina.
Rasputin.
And you saw his... Did you say the name? Do you say it out loud, almost to yourself? But it's such a similarity, this silhouette behind the glass, and it reminds you of seeing his silhouette from behind for the first time, in flickering orange firelight, as his deep bass, basso profundo voice held his audience captive.
Rasputin.
And you actually find that you have stopped in your tracks for a brief moment.
Duh. I'm sweating.
I think the other two of you see this. Perhaps one's in front, one's slightly behind.
Miss Rulyova, are you quite all right? You appear to have had something of a turn.
I must apologize. Did you see a tall man go through that door behind the glass?
I saw the door close and I thought, well, seemed someone was in a hurry.
I'm sorry, I'm not quite myself. I think it was a trick of the light.
And as she says that, the other two of you turn and look at her face. You see fear written across her features. A deep, profound, desperate, and personal fear.
Get me on land.